So solid waste, what, by definition? Trash, I'll take it. It's anything you throw away, right? And we're focusing on the beginning of the unit in your trash, like municipal, home, right? Residential, those words. But then we're gonna go on to what's in the trash that shouldn't be discarded as home trash, and then industrial waste, medical waste, hazardous waste in general, right? So municipal waste or domestic or residential, please remember all those words. And I say commercial because commercial is a business. It's not industry. McCarthy is a business, right? It's a school, but it's not an industry. It doesn't manufacture things. So always try to remember that. Number one, discarded solid in the United States of America. And then the rest, you don't have to know the order. You have to know the number one, okay? So what else do we discard a lot of in our home? Plastic, a lot of plastic, a lot of cardboard, food, a lot of food, yes. And yard clippings, good. So where does it go, people?
Landfills.
You don't have to know that it's 55%. I want you to know that the majority of the garbage goes to landfills. Second is what? Recycling. And honestly, I need to look this up. Where does our recyclable goods go?
China.
I'm wondering what's going to happen there, people. Because last year, China said no more. And now we're at another crisis to worry about. So we're going to look this up before this unit is over, just to see what's going on. And then the last thing we do with it, we burn it. Incinerators, yes. We're going to talk about all three, the process, advantages and disadvantages to each, okay? The first one is landfills. What? Just to say, I used to teach, obviously been teaching a long time. When I taught about discarding waste, the major way of discarding waste was just a dump. That's not even in my notes anymore. Dumps are super regulated, but people used to just throw their garbage away, which led to major environmental problems. We still have, a landfill is the replacement of a dump. The landfill is called a sanitary landfill. So please write that down, because there's a difference between a landfill, which is like a dump, and a sanitary landfill. So the sanitary landfill does these things to assure or to help lessen the waste runoff into bodies of water and the releases of gas into the atmosphere and the damaging of land. So obviously protecting the environment. The first thing we're going to protect it from is leaching, which is what?
Chemicals attached to like a body of water or aquifers.
Chemicals that travel with water through the cycle and can end up in an aquifer or a large body of water. So what do we add? Clay and plastic. We know clay was the least permeable, right? Remember we learned that in soil. So they add layers of clay and they actually throw tarps of plastic to prevent chemicals from going into the land and ending up in the body of water. And then to make it even better, they collect any of that water that does make it down. They collect that water and then I don't actually know what they do with that water. I'm sure they discard it somewhere or treat it. I'm gonna find out too. But they collect it so that it doesn't end up in our body of water. When it's dumping days, they dump garbage really compacted and they call them refuse cells. So they're these little like piles of garbage. This helps prevent odor being released, and it keeps the garbage tight, and then they cover it with soil and vegetation, which basically keeps it looking good at all times. I'll show you. All right, another thing we do is collect methane. Anybody know what we're gonna do with this methane?
Use it as energy.
Yes. We're gonna help prevent global warming because methane is released excessively from landfills because of the decomposition and the lack of oxygen from being compacted and covered. So methane releases, and we use that methane to collect electricity. Now, our power plant, our landfill doesn't do that. There's, like, I think I have a quote, not many landfills actually generate their own power. So this is Vista View, here it is in our notes. Advantages to landfills, they turn them into a park at the end, they don't smell, which used to be a disadvantage, but they controlled that, and they're inexpensive in comparison to recycling, and incineration. All right, so you know, garbage can be used to generate what? Fuel for cars. I wouldn't call it gas, right? Fuel for cars. It can also be converted into a gas, which can be used for heating in your home. And it could be converted into electricity. So what would this replace? If we use garbage to generate power, what would it replace? Here. 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 And nuclear. Good job. All right, here we go. Methane to electricity. That's the extent of my explanation. Because somebody should be explaining that. Who knows who's going to be explaining this? You do know?
I hope it's not wind.
Somebody better know. Okay, good. You know, my last class didn't. Good job, girl. All right. 12% of solid waste is actually used to create electricity in the United States. So it's a little amount. Who could tell me why?
It takes energy to burn it. Less net efficiency.
Good, less net efficiency. Remember, one uranium pellet is equivalent to 1 ton of coal and a cord, I think they called it. I don't even know what that means, but apparently it's a lot of garbage, right? Yes, because to generate the steam, you need to make a lot of heat. And to make a lot of heat, you need a good source. All right, what are some disadvantages to a landfill?
It stinks.
It actually does not stink. So that was an advantage. If I go back, it does not smell. Okay. Oh boy.
It's just like sewer things. They don't smell.
Emissions of methane, no matter what we do, methane is going to be released. CO2 is released. What else? Nitrogen and everything organic, right? Because if food is in our landfill, what else can be in your landfill?
Bacteria.
Bacteria, what else? You can have viruses and bacteria, what else?
Rodent.
Who throws away their Clorox bottle in the garbage?
You.
So what could be in your garbage? Chemicals, hazardous chemicals. So although a landfill is supposed to be sanitary, when we don't discard our garbage correctly, our unsanitary chemicals end up there. So it could have a lot of dangerous chemicals leaching. And at the end of the day, the biggest disadvantage is space. We're going to run out of space. It's going to happen.